Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing? Ooh. Da, 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 da. Hi, Wing. Welcome. I think, yeah, I think school it's fine. Maybe center. Look, it's like facility sounds like something about medicine, right? Uh, definitely not camp, because you know. But yeah, maybe just cool. Like maybe like they have like a certain type of name. Like it's like a special school. I don't know. The Marxist school. I don't know. The anti-capitalist school. But yeah. How are y'all doing? I'm good. Well, just kidding. I am not good. I don't know why the last couple of days I have been kind of um, feeling very self-conscious of a lot of things. And it's weird because I feel like I had already come to terms with all of those things, but apparently I hadn't. But yeah, I don't know. I feel I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like a failure. uh, I feel like I'm not doing enough for the stream, and it's like I don't know, like I don't know what I should be doing, and that is kind of killing me. Um, I took a break from. Thank you. Hi, Dorian. Welcome. I took a break from modding for denims. The last 2 weeks, the past 2 weeks. That really didn't change anything. That just made me more self-conscious of. Hi, Louis. Welcome. That just made me more self-conscious of the time I had, basically. I loved doing the deep dive on Indonesia on Sunday. I do want to make more of those. Today we were supposed to initiate our deep dive on India, but we're going to do it tomorrow and on Friday, right? Because today I don't have the energy, and I just wanted to talk some news, you know, after going over the Gulag stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Yesterday I was watching uh Richard's stream, and I was like, I don't know. I was just thinking if I should start doing news, and it's weird because like I honestly don't have it in me. I mean, it's interesting, right? But I don't know where to look for news, right? Like Telesur and Grayzone, I know are good ones, right? But they don't really update every day. Today I was checking Al Jazeera and I'm like, yeah, but they sometimes, it's kind of weird. Um, I did find yesterday through print or video or both. Any like articles or video. Video would be better, but the thing is like I just want news, right? That are international. Hopefully already have the anti-imperialist um perspective, right? And from that, I can do like the rest of the research, right? And prepare the streams. But I want like a baseline where I can just get things. And that's the thing, like I like Democracy Now, but Democracy Now is a bit too US focused sometimes and a bit too suck demi and like uh oh yeah, the thing is like breakthrough news. Hi Kay, welcome. Breakthrough, like I love breakthrough, I love Richard, I love all these things, right? But I just, yeah, I think I want um a news like article, right? Because like I love breakthrough, but sometimes they tend to post like the good videos are their long videos, right? And like yeah, like the like Rainia's conversations are so good, right? And their shorter videos are either segments of long conversations, which I rather watch the long conversations, or their little short news pieces are things that are pretty straightforward, like nothing to really be expanded upon, or like it's still like, you know. So yeah, like that is why I, yeah, like I'm subscribed, like I love them, right? But yeah, and like sometimes I just don't feel like when I watch the hour or 2 hour long conversations that they have, I have to be in a certain mood, right? And like for example today, like I see this and I'm like, oh my god, yes, this is a great video because it's about the Winter Olympics, like Western bullshit. Like it talks like in the thumbnail you had Putin, so I know they're going to reference Ukraine probably, right? But right now I'm not in the mood of watching a 2 hour video, right? I just want more things. So yeah. Then Democracy Now, I don't dislike. I love Amy for a while. We had an Amy emote, right? But from what I've seen, they are too US centered, right? Uh, and I don't want to like move away from that because I'm not interested in the US, right? But I don't know. I mean, it could be a good like US thing, right? But every now and then. Like I won't go to Democracy Now every day to have a rundown of all the things that are happening today in the world. And like I know that maybe I'm asking for too much for everything that is happening today in the world because I know I won't get everything that is happening in the world today, right? But I want like something that is going to give me okay, like the 5 stories for today that are the biggest in the world that concern anti-imperialism, war, like US, and we can like and I can dissect and talk about them on stream, right? And yeah, like I like today I was on Al Jazeera and I found the Honduran ex-president appears in court amid the U.S. extradition push, and this is something that I heard about it yesterday and checked a couple of other news sites, and this was also there, so I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about Colombia, but I'm not sure, so this is going to be like new for me. Um, about the displacement. I'm pretty sure they're talking about troops because it says, but I'm not sure. And then this guy. this thing of Kashmir man spent over 100 days in jail for cheering for Pakistan win, and I'm like, this seems like, I don't know, right? But yeah, yesterday through I stopped viewing Democracy Now on stream, but I still watch it on my own. I think it's way better than most other media in the US. But as far as uh, but as I've been learning more, on some things they report started bothering me. Yeah, I know, right, Kay? And it's like I I love Amy as much as the next person, right? But it's like it's still very like I have to go over the lip shit, right? And that kind of you know you know. But yeah, hi, this you're in the lead. Welcome, Gulags. Good. Oh yeah, we're going to go over that. Don't worry. I think Telesur would be a good for a number. Yeah, yeah, and Al Jazeera for Western Asia. Yeah, I know Telesur. Hi, Brian. Welcome. I was checking Telesur, and the thing about Telesur is that they are very US centric, right? US centric, Latin American centric. But they are so all over the place. And like it is a good spot, but I want like for example, if I have a I want a site that is going to give me world, that their focus is going to be world, right? And if in that site there's a Latin American story, I will go to Telesur, right? Like Telesur is my like already um source for Latin American stuff, right? But yeah. I know I'm just being petty. I know, but yeah. Um my thoughts on this. What's this? Uh Mac even yeah, Makov's China or Makovnia, also known as Free Territory. Anything that is about Mako is like we have a command for Magno. Yeah, Magno was a former Red Army commander who betrayed the revolution by going traitor, and aside from the enslavement, i.e. conscription, also took in fascists who killed over 3,000 youths. He used US-style slavery if you didn't agree with his brand of anarchism. Fun. So already sus, right? I think Castle. I don't know. Like Castle is kind of mad with me. um. Uh. But yeah, I don't really know why. But yeah, or I don't know. Yeah, we do support the Zapatista movement. Yeah. Maconia was established with the capture of by Magno forces on 27 insurgents, Russian forces of the White Movement under Degunin occupied part of the region and formed a temporary government of southern Russia in March of 1920, resulting in the de facto capital being briefly moved to Kenyaslav. In March of 1920, the King forces related from the area. First of all, we already know for this from Wikipedia, so it's already kind of sus, right? Uh, and others are controlled by the Black Army in present-day Ukraine. Yeah. Um, he has a great article about Bakovia the other day. Long story short, it was trash. He was trash. It was all trash. Interesting. Uh, does that mean you stand land back? Oh yeah, we stand land back here. Like, uh, yes. Why genocide? Just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah. Uh, yeah, the Bakunin Kropotkin school, and we already know Bakunin, kind of an anti-Semite. But yeah. I kind with MLs have come to the conclusion that Orwell was garbage, Castro was pretty damn cool, Che gets a weird bad rep, and Stalin is still trash. Stalin is not trash. Um, like Stalin did some not perfect things, right? But oh girl, like calling Stalin trash is literally just racism. Because, sorry, but Stalin did this. I've really done a lot of work getting nuance. Yeah, like women in the USSR are accorded equal rights with men in all spheres of economic, state, cultural, social, and political life. The possibility of uh, I didn't say that, but sure, like interpret it as you will. The possibility of exercising these rights is ensured to women by granting them an equal right with men to work, payment for work, rest and leisure, social insurance and education, uh, and by state protection of the interest of mother and child, pre-maternity and maternity leave with full pay, the provision of wide networks and maternity homes, nurseries, and kindergartens. Stalin did this. Just saying. And then equality rights of citizens of the USSR, irrespective of their nationality or race, in all spheres of economic, state, cultural, social, and political life, is an indefeasible law. Any direct or indirect restrictions of rights of, or conversely, any establishment of direct or indirect privilege for citizens on account of race and nationality, as well as any advocacy of racial or national exclusionism, hatred, and contempt is punishable by law. Like, Butterfucker literally made race and gender inequalities illegal. Which is far better than any other person that any other leader of any nation had ever done by that time. Like, yeah, like, okay, it was 1936. It was Russia, 1936. Like, it was 1936. Like, most of the like, I don't get that point. Okay, he gave healthcare, he gave work, he gave education to everyone, but he was homophobic. Okay, like, it was 1936. The material conditions of Russia were completely were completely different. Also, like, oh, you were never homophobic in your life. You were born screaming queer rights, right? You were born knowing what's the difference between allosexuality, aromanticism, and asexuality, right? You were born like knowing your gender and knowing what to ask, knowing to ask everyone's pronouns, right? You were born not assuming like not being cis heteronormative and always asking like with Stalin causing death of many gays where like okay and okay like okay, let's say that Stalin killed a lot of gays. That was wrong. Fuck that, but that doesn't all of a sudden erase all the incredible things that he did. Like, yeah, but there's the thing, like, okay, here fucked up, like, this is such, like, this is liberalism. Like, not being able to have nuance. Like, he fucking gave housing to people. That is something that no one had ever done. Like, it's literally just like, where? Um, like homophobia was literally very entrenched in all societies because of colonialism, because of the patriarchy. Like it is like like I've had so many conversations like this that I always know that whenever people bring up queer rights in in societies of the last century, they're literally all being just bad faith because they don't want to accept that yeah it's legal in 2022. Like we're talking about 1936. I mean, so far it's not illegal here. It's not illegal in the constitution, but yeah. So you know, yeah, I am also queer, and you are just you are literally just being you're just being pedantic at this point. Like I already explained to you, okay, if he did that, which you still haven't provided any source, right? Um we can still acknowledge that it was bad and it was a mistake and it was fucked up, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that he still gave housing and healthcare and food to people, that he made legal strides for the USSR to reduce sexism and racism legally. So it's like saying, like, I don't know. No, like, who's your favorite streamer? Like, let's say that they they are great and all. Oh, but they said the N word 4 years ago, but 10 years ago. Ah, so they are a racist, and it's like, okay, people change, and even then, because they did something bad, doesn't take away of all the good that they did. That is the point of nuance. That is the point of uh viewing things through a dialectically material lens, right? So yeah. Okay, you said he actively made the culture around queerness immensely worse. What does that mean? It was only legalized because they undid all the SARS laws, and it was never intentionally legalized because it wasn't even a topic they were discussing. They were in 2 world wars. They had more pressing matters. Also, just because it's legal on paper doesn't change culture or society. Yeah, that is true. Had to remove abortion because he was pushed by most of the population to remove it. USSR, North Korea were the first countries to legalize abortion. The revolution has to be perfect. If it's done the way I think should have been done, it's bad. Liberals and others who don't know history. Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's Margaret Stelling didn't even get the power to do most of the stuff. He was in the parliament. Yeah, in white gloves. Like, I don't know. And like the fun part is that if uh like, because I am caring to engage with what you're talking about, like, people can easily just, like, not even clip me out of context. I don't really care about that. People can just invent whatever, right? And they will just go around and say, oh, Seb said this, oh, Seb says that if you criticize Stalin, you are racist. And it's, no, that is not it. Like, criticism or Stalin are rooted in racism because of how imperialism works, right? Like, that is just a fact. But people don't get it. People don't understand it. Uh, However, you can still make criticisms of Stalin's policies, right? Stalin's actions. But to say Stalin is trash, like, okay, if you have the if you have Stalin as the standard of trash, then everyone else is trash. Like, no one leader has ever done anything good in their lives, right? So if you are going to say that everyone is trash, then what's the point of even calling anyone trash if everyone is going to be trash by default, right? Like, it's when you call, like, China authoritarian. All countries are authoritarian by definition of what a country is. Democracy is authoritarian. So you're not calling China authoritarian because you're being correct. You're calling China authoritarian because you want to convey the message that China bad. Like, people never call the US authoritarian, even though it is probably one of the most authoritarian countries in the entire existence of the world. Right? and it's because people don't want to like give that impression of the US, especially people from the US who have been indoctrinated by uh, right wing nationalism their whole entire lives, and so they are just in this comfort zone of, yeah, the U.S. bad, but not that bad actually, right? And so they will resist to give any criticism of the U.S. in order to maintain that idea that, oh yeah, the U.S. is not that bad actually, because I wasn't completely lied to my whole life, right? I wasn't completely like, it is not everything a lie, right? Like, yeah, they might have lied to me in all my history classes about the US, but when they said, oh, USSR bad, they were right, right? When they said North Korea bad, oh, they are right, right? And it's like, no, they completely lied to you your whole entire life. Like, and it, like, uh, I think Silver tweeted about this. Uh, People want to talk about the famines caused by socialist countries, but they ignore famines caused by capitalist countries. Churchill killing millions of Indians. Fucking Thatcher, like, uh, leaving the trash all over the street. Like, where is this? Also, I like fucking Silver is back on Twitter and he fucking tweets like every 5 seconds. I fucking swear to God. Food sovereignty. Narration in the US daily. Yeah, but that doesn't matter because it's the US and the US good wing. Like, we should talk about only the USSR because the USSR bad, and we should only talk about brown countries because brown bad. Reminded that the West stole the Afghan treasuries and justified it as the Taliban bad to women and children and are religious fanatics, so therefore shouldn't have this money. Yet again, the use of some rights to justify colonialism. Don't fall prey to the BS. You and I in the West have no right to deny agency and stability to Afghanistan since it was the West who created Islamic religious extremism to combat communism and anti-colonial struggles in the Middle East. And like this is true, like people will literally use the rights of some to justify imperialism, to justify racism, to justify like any other thing, right? Like I've had people tell me that, oh no, the US should be bombing Afghanistan because like the US should stay in Afghanistan because if they get out, the rights of women will be like compromised. And it's like, is the US defending the rights of women? No. Is the US like making women's rights happen? No. Then what does it matter? Like, women's rights are going to be compromised either way. I'd rather them Afghan women be completely out of like the US be completely removed from the self-determination of Afghan women, and the Afghan women be able to enact their own self-determination without having to deal with imperialist bullshit, without having to deal with with the threat of being bombed every day. Also, how the fuck are women going to fight for their rights if they are bombed? If they have to deal with imperialism, with war every day? Like, there are not going to be women's rights if there are no women, if there are no people alive in Afghanistan in the first place. Like, yeah, okay. You're talking about gay rights, right? Okay, what gay people, if they're unhoused, if they don't have food, if they are dying of diseases, like, so get your priorities straight. What I care the most at first is that people are being housed, that people are having healthcare, that people are having education, are being able to work, right? And after we have all the basic necessities, that they are alive, that they can be alive, we can worry about all the social issues that are just as important. But if I have to choose between someone being alive and someone being treated nicely, I will choose people being alive and not dying of starvation, of, like, and I hate this because this is a very nuanced discussion, but I have to put it in these simple terms in order for people to understand. Like, oh, Castro was bad, wasn't good with gay rights. Okay, what was before Castro? A fascist. There was slavery. There was literally a fascist leader who wasn't good with gay rights either. So I will take Castro over anyone else. Or at least over the fucking fascist. Like, I will take Lenin Stalin over a Tsar. I will take Mao over Chiang Kai-shek. Over the fucking dynasties. I will take Ho Chi Minh over fucking imperialism. Over the US bombing the fuck out of Vietnam. Like, sorry, but if you put gay rights of or people not being bombed, I'm going to choose people not being bombed. And I am coming, and this is coming from someone who is queer, who is trans, who is bisexual, who is brown, and know what it's like to not have money to eat, to be health insecure, to not be able to have education. Like, it is so fucked up how people use the rights of some as leverage to justify slavery, to justify imperialism, to justify genocide, actual fucking genocide. And even then, who the fuck are you to talk about queer rights? Where are you? In the US? Oh, great, you have gay marriage is legal. Okay, trans people are still having to go to shelters. Trans people still don't have the don't still don't have access to transitionary methods for free. They still have to pay thousands of dollars. Black trans women are still having to do sex work in order to survive. Not because sex work is bad or anything, sex work is work, but if that is the only thing you are able to do in order to survive, then that is wrong. And the reality is that most of trans black women who do the sex work, they do the sex work because that is the only thing that they are able to do. Like, I don't know if the theory elite is here, but you said, oh, Lenin was a swerve. Why do you think he was anti-sex work? Because he thought that sex work was about the exploitation of women. And women having to exploit themselves through sex in order to make ends meet. He wasn't anti-women liberation, just like swerves are. He just had the conservative notion of sex bad, right? Sex work bad. So that's why we need to give women access to all spheres of life in order for them to not have to go to do sex work, or for them not to feel like sex work is the only thing they are able to do in order to make ends meet. And yes, this is why ultimately those criticisms are fucking racist. Because you don't fucking understand the material conditions of all of these places and all of these people. Who the fuck are you in the US criticizing, placing judgment upon the actions that global south countries have had to take in order to survive, in order to make their people survive? You know how fucking privileged it is to say, oh yeah, they had food to eat, which they didn't before, but they were bad on gay rights. Excuse me? I'm not saying queer liberation isn't important. But again, if I'm choosing someone, not preventing someone from dying of starvation or queer rights, I'm going to choose preventing someone from dying of starvation. Because they will immediately die without food. High ground, yes, yes, and Stalin was a horrible person. Oh my god, oh my god. I hate this. Okay, sorry. I just get mad because liberals be liberals, but yeah. Yeah, motherfucker left. And uh, he'll be like, Seps is racist. Seps says that if you criticize Stalin, you are racist. And are just not going to understand all the context, all the nuance, all the history. And then I will just be banned from places, I will be blocked by people, and etc., 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 right? And so, yeah, it's fine. Yay. Ah! Hi, Graham. How are you doing? I am going to watch the video that you watched earlier in your stream or that someone recommended. But yeah. Also, hi, Jello, and hi, Tony, and hi, everyone. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to chat, but I just was fucking mad because. Yeah, Dorian, I'm sorry. Oh, it's this bad? Is this bad? I thought it was good. Really? Oh shit. Um, Gulag good. Uh, Clickbait history channels are spot on regarding history. Look, I don't know. I just saw it in your Discord, and I was like, oh, they recommended it to Grub, so this must be good, right? No. Uh, I went to Gulag. Oh my god. It's not good, but it's fun to make fun of. Literally, they literally use Holocaust pictures in it when it's talking about gulags. Oh my god! If the Holodomor is a genocide, it's one of the most poorly executed ones ever, killing millions of Russians too. Yeah, true. I wonder if they cite Solzhenitsyn and nobody else. Oh my god! Also, hi Siporowski, welcome. uh. Uh, the US literally didn't even make same-sex marriage constitutional until 2017. Anti-trans legislation was at its peak last year, as were murders of the TGNC people. HRT and PrEP are still private. Child marriage is legal in at least 27 states. The US can't touch grass. Oh my god, 2015, yeah. Non-consensual surgery on intersex people in the US. Police, sports teams, schools, groping trans youth, groping youth in general. To be honest, like it's so fucked up that it's not even exclusive to trans youth, right? Like that's all here in the U.S. Bourgeois queers are my enemies too. Like they're more aligned with the state than they are with queer siblings. Yeah, like I was alive for 17 years closeted, right? I couldn't have been alive for 17 years if I don't have food and housing. Not to even mention education. Education is so important. Alright? Without that education, I would have probably never been able to accept myself. So, like, it is just so infuriating when you. I was here in chat 10 minutes ago. Oh my god. Yeah, I know. Those clouds really said big girls don't cry when they famine Ukrainians. Oh my god. Just this year, the White threw BSM and King under the bus during Prime. Oh yeah, fucking yeah. Like yeah. Oh yeah, Freya, if you want to know about the Holodomor, um, this is a great article that Grom sent me. Um,
The Union of Soviet.
But yeah. No. It is still a good resource. So yeah, like it is not like for you; it's for in general, right? But yeah. No, I speak Russian, so I get some words where I usually write Nietzsche to Nietzsche that in English. Interesting. Totally off topic, but I was very confused by this because the parallel discussion was about the 1910s and 30s. Oh no, yeah, and like that's the fucked up thing. Like, I'm talking about literally 1936. I'm literally talking about like literally a century ago. Tell me one country that wasn't one leader that wasn't homophobic 100 years ago. I'll wait. Oh yeah, you can't name anyone. Yeah, I know Sipersky, I know. But yeah, I don't know. It's so maddening and yeah. Okay, let's watch this video. I don't think they're going to talk about the gulags, and I might have to change the title, but yeah.
Socialist republics.
Actually, yeah, no, I will change the title later because I don't want to have like more discussions about the USSR.
Or USSR, was a communist state from 1922 to 1990.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's like okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Won, and was a big rival of the US from World War II to the end of the 80s. But what was the Soviet Union really like? And what was it like living there? Well, it turns out it's complicated. So, today...
Look, complicated, it's better than nothing, okay? Just not accurate. Yeah, but I want an accurate videogram. Right, but yeah. To let the chat in chat or what? No, we had a person. And yeah.
We're going to take a look at things you didn't know about daily life in the Soviet Union. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel. After that, we'd be much obliged if you would leave a comment and let us know what other geopolitical topics you would like to hear about. Okay, you don't know how lucky you are that we're going to tell you how things worked back in the USSR.
Like, the thing is that it wasn't a chat, it was just a person being, like... yeah. They'll starve the end.
From the
Soviet hipsters mad? What? Soviet hipsters made bootleg records? Interesting.
From the late 40s to the early 60s, the Soviet Union had a counterculture group that aped Western beatnik and hipster culture and even made bootleg LPs. This being the USSR,
Interesting.
the so-called styliagi, or style hunters, were forced to make the bootlegs out of recycled X-ray films. This meant the records had ghostly bones all over them, which, to be honest, sounds pretty badass. The styliagi were, in the words of one style blogger, a group of dandy youngsters dressed up in colorful American-inspired get-ups that were unafraid to make a bold fashion statement. Those critical of the styliagi claimed, "Today he dances jazz, but tomorrow he will sell his homeland." Talk about your slippery slopes.
Interesting. Everyone starved today every day. Yeah, the same person died every day of starvation. But evil dictator Stalin forced them to come back to life so they would have to starve to death again the next day. True story.
McDonald's and Coca-Cola are often cited as being the two American companies with the most worldwide influence and reach. But it was actually Pepsi-Cola that made it into the USSR first. Yeah, Pepsi was available in...
Okay, I don't want to brag, but it's so fun that the fact that I can read this. Like, Pepsi, Cola. Yes. What does it say? Prianoi. Prianio. Shura Viney. Oh my god. Yeah, because he just said it. No, shut up. No, but I can actually like Pepsi Cola. But I like these didn't. He didn't say this. Okay, fuck you. But yeah, watch it and cringe. Sebs the commercial. What commercial? Oh my god, I hate you. Okay, I'm going to say it. I don't find it that funny. I love that I just wrote Gorv. I literally wrote Gorv, and it was already Gorbachev Pizza Hut out there.
Это Горбачев.
Горбачев.
Это из-за него у нас в экономике бардак.
Да благодаря ему у нас новые возможности.
Это из-за него у нас политическая нестабильность.
Да благодаря ему у нас свобода.
Полный хаос.
Перспективы.
Политическая нестабильность.
Да благодаря ему у нас есть писахат.
За Горбачева!
За Горбачева!
За Горбачева!
Sometimes nothing brings people together like a nice hot pizza from Pizza Hut.
I want to end stream now. I want to end stream now. I hate this commercial. Yes, it's real. It is so real. I literally watched it in school when we were learning about, yeah. Y'all don't get it. I literally watched this in school. Okay? Like, I have fucking trauma with this shit. I hate you all. Oh my god, Tony. I bet he sits alone in his sad apartment watching that and cries because literally everyone hates him, the right and the left in Russia. True. Gorbachev did nothing wrong. Just kidding. Um, Never would I have imagined anything like this. Yeah, okay, like, oh my god. Also, hi August, welcome. Led to the one of the largest humanitarian crises. I know, right? Used for a while. Gotta do school. Oh, okay. Hi, G Clappy, welcome. I hate you all.
In
Okay.
the Soviet Union a full 21 years before McDonald's and 16 years before Coca-Cola. It had a lot to do with Pepsi's appearance at an exhibit at Moscow's Sokolniki Park in 1959, where the soda was given out for free.
Okay. I'm going to make a controversial statement. Pepsi has a better marketing plan, has better marketing, and a better business plan than Coca-Cola has ever had. And I know Coca-Cola is like one of the standards of marketing, right? And advertisement. But they do too much. Oh, like, uh, I have never watched this. I have never watched this commercial, right? This ad on TV, but like, I knew about this, and I was like, bruh. You know, fucking Britney, Beyonce, Pink, and Enrique Iglesias. Hello? Hello? Oh my god, the acting. He's surprised. He's moving. We stand. Also, we stand a Philippine king. Sorry, I don't want to get the MCA. Look. All of a sudden, oh my god, badass girl, badass. Okay, but isn't this literally the most iconic commercial ever, though? We all remember this moment. We all remember this moment. So like Abraham Lincoln ended racism with slavery, with ending slavery, right? MLK ended racism for a second time. Obama ended racism for a third time. Kendall Jenner ended racism for a fourth time with this commercial. But honestly, fuck everyone who was like harassing her, because like, bitch, this was literally just a fuck. It's literally her job. She was like, okay, you have to do this, and she did it, and she got paid. Like, she didn't invent the commercial. Oh my god. Okay, but does that Pepsi have like poison or something? Like, hello? I am so confused. Also, I'm pretty sure they put another song. It's like this beat is horrible. Commercial music. Okay. It's horrible. Okay, please tell me that that is not actual music. Oh yeah, this was the actual music. Okay. Okay. Everyone defund the police corporation. Best we can do is pass. And it was poison. I mean, what? Who said that? Protest DM. True. What if we ended racism with Pepsi? I know, right? The fact that this was probably developed and focus group and like $20 million agency, it's so amazing. Bro, like, sorry, Jacoby, I know you go by Chica, but girl, there is no such thing as bad advertisement. Were people talking about Pepsi? Yes. What's the point of advertisement? That people talk about it. And people were talking about it. And yeah, maybe the sales of Pepsi fell for a couple of days, maybe 1 or 2 weeks afterwards. The next month, best month of Pepsi. Because people weren't like, oh yeah, remember that commercial? They were like, something happened with Pepsi like a couple of weeks ago. Now I want Pepsi. I guess I'll buy Pepsi. Just, I don't know, but yeah. Water supplies and giving local diabetes. Let's go! Yeah, oh, like, I guess this campaign was a success. It was. And like I remember one time a teacher of mine was like, this was bad. I hope no one in this class ever does a thing like this. And I was like, but it was a successful campaign. Yeah, but this is wrong. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that the company has visibility. And that is what we're hired for. Yeah, but that's immoral. Yeah, but they don't do it because there's morality. They do it because they want money. Well, those are not the values that I would hope people in here have. That would be our job. It's not like we can really impose, like, yeah. That teacher hated me. Also, I hated him. He was the don't even start with that teacher. Okay. Mm. Yanks need Pepsi more than you need water. Oh my god. Show me a 10-foot paywall. I'll show you a 12 ladder. Oh my god. I would never use that link, Dorian. How dare you? How dare you? Wow. Wow. Bro. They fucking said nope. They literally just said nope. Ushanka show. Ooh. Okay, we're going to watch this later. Remember, we were watching this. I was posting it to show people what not to do. Oh, okay. Yeah.
In disposable paper cups. The Soviets struck a deal with Pepsi a decade later that also included the distribution rights for Stoli vodka. Despite this,
Okay. Torlovaya marca Torlovaya. Trading. Oh, ooh. Traded mark. Interesting. Oh, TM. Got it. Never to be cited again.
decade later that also included the distribution rights for Stoli vodka. Despite the head start, however, Coke would catch up, and as of 2020,
Khrushchev could have been Dong, but he wasn't.
Coca-Cola was the most popular non-alcoholic beverage in Russia.
Boo.
Pepsi was second. But speaking of beverages...
Go! And both of them are cringe.
Famous beer lovers like Homer Simpson and Norm Peterson might have loved Russia because,
Mace
while this sounds
characteristics.
wild,
Oh my
it
God.
wouldn't be until 2011 that beer came to be defined as an alcoholic beverage in the former Soviet nation. Prior to that, legislation classified it as a foodstuff, meaning it could be sold like a soft drink. This meant it could be sold in street kiosks and could be imbibed openly in just about any public place in the country. Now, to be clear, this wasn't
Now this is the reason everyone loves the Soviet Union. Stalin who? The beer.
because the Russians didn't know beer was alcoholic or anything like that. It was really a legal consequence of an international trade pact known as the Nice Agreement. The agreement classified hard liquor and beer as two different types of goods, something Russian liquor producers spent years trying to change without success. In any case, alcohol in general was wildly popular during the Soviet era. In fact, when Mikhail Gorbachev, the country's head of state from 1990 through 1991, tried to pass a dry law that raised the price of booze and restricted when and what quantities it could be sold, it affected his popularity. Some historians think it even
He just really wanted to be hated, huh? Like Gorbachev made it his business to be like, how can I make everyone hate me? Like motherfucker was like, okay, what do people like? Okay, let's ban that.
even hastened his downfall. Studies have shown that Gorbachev's program correlated with the rise in
Also, yes, fuck beer.
life expectancy and a drop in criminal behavior. On the other hand, it cost the country about 100 billion rubles in tax revenues and became a massive source of income to organized criminals and black marketeers. So it was a mixed bag, or a mixed drink in this case.
Oh my god.
In an era when everything is made to be constantly
I
replaced
figured
and
out
upgraded,
Gorbachev was an energy vampire, sustained himself one misery. Oh my god. Beer that we kind of made true.
it's hard to remember that there was once a time when things were built to last, like, for example, Soviet cars. According to Russian author Alexander Kabakov, from the 1930s to the 1950s especially, car owners in the Soviet Union took great pride in making their vehicles last as long as possible. And in some cases, they lasted a lifetime. It wasn't just careful owners that gave these vehicles their longevity. Quality control on the manufacturing end was a huge part of it, and so was build quality. In fact, Kabakov says the metal frames were so thick coming off the line, they were basically resistant to corrosion. Everyone's heard of long Soviet bread lines, but that's not even the half of it. Even a self-proclaimed well-off American student living in Moscow in the mid-60s said that getting any food at all was a tremendous chore. According to Dr. Naomi F. Collins, she was constantly in a state of exhaustion just from the efforts of daily living. Even buying staples like cheese and rice took forever because you had to stand in long lines for nearly every item you wanted. And even after waiting, you didn't get the item directly. You had to get vouchers at each station and pay a cashier before going back to the stations and picking up your items.
I hate that it's not like, okay, but why? I mean, it do be an inefficient system though. But yeah. Stalin wanted everyone to eat in communal cafeterias. Oh, maybe this is why people couldn't buy things because, oh my god.
Soviet authorities in Stalin's time considered private
Okay, look at him. Isn't he? Oh my god. Okay.
kitchens, dining rooms, and even apartments to be dangerous to the regime. So an idea was tossed around in the early days to
Okay.
force to be
Maybe it's just the mustache. The mustache. Whatever. Okay, do you see it? Do you see it? There's something, right? There's something, right? Okay. I'm just saying looks wise. I don't know. Regime equals government I don't like. True. Why Pepe is in chat? Oh my god. Can you explain why? Why what? Oh, the food lines? Oh, I don't know. That is why I wanted them to explain. Talk me to his basement room anytime. Oh my god. To be honest, the reason I wouldn't like the cafeteria is my social anxiety, but otherwise, yeah. Fuck it, I'm saying it. No, it's the most cop-looking motherfucker. Not untrue. 10 years to the regime, or maybe they just thought it would be good to encourage fellowship. Yeah, I know. Okay.
Soviet authorities in Stalin's time considered private kitchens, dining rooms, and even apartments to be dangerous to the regime. So an idea was tossed around in the early days to force people to eat in communal cafeterias. It sounds like a storyline from a Dr. Strangelove type political farce, but so-called kitchen politics were actually considered such a threat that Soviet leaders wanted houses built without kitchens at all. It wasn't just about preventing people from having privacy. The idea was also meant to relieve a housewife from her daily chores, so that she could develop as a personality, and free the country from the Tsarism, and bring happiness to poorer classes. Because I guess we all
I mean, it low-key makes sense though. Like, it is a bit extreme, right? Like, not having kitchens. But at the same time, like, it makes sense from kind of like a feminist approach, right? Like, oh yeah, we don't want women to be relegated to kitchen, so fuck it, no kitchen. And okay, like okay, took it a little too far, okay, but at the same time, like, bruh, kind of makes sense, kind of based. I don't know if it was the thread. Maybe they thought kitchen politics would strengthen the people's knowledge. I don't know. Centralizing the cooking would also make stuff more efficient. Yes, also yes. Narrator's about to undermine a good point with smartest remark. I know, right?
No, cooking only brings sorrow? Not surprisingly, the idea did not pan out. And soon, widespread industrialization led to over 100 different ethnic groups all being served the same exact meals, such as canned soup, meat, and fish.
Okay, I can see that how that wouldn't be ideal, right? But at the same time, bro, kind of makes sense though, right? Also, that is literally that would be a great way to like maximize resources, right? Like you're saving so many resources by, oh my god, like I get how, but it's not a bad idea though. Like it makes sense, right? Like I know there would be other problem stuff, but like motherfucker was like, let's just make everything communal. Like let's make communism now. Like I don't know. If my neighborhood had a kitchen that cooked fresh food for me every day, I would love it. I know, right? Literally. Same food, names basic foods. Yeah. Like nobody should be forced to eat meat or fish. That is true law. That is true law. They should all be forced to be vegan. But also they lived in Russia and I'm pretty sure they cannot grow. Right? But yeah. We need more community in the West with what distributed individuality. Yeah. Should have built super blocks. He fucking did though. But yeah. There weren't soup kitchens for the poor. This doesn't even make sense because soup. Oh my god.
A New York Times feature from 1989
Oh yes. New York Times from 1999. Super trustable source about the USSR. But also no kitchen. Why get food if there were no kitchens? Because it didn't pan out at the end. Like, it was like for a second, but yeah.
reveals quite a bit about the Soviet attitude regarding the poor and the homeless in the last few years of the USSR.
Okay, in the last few years of the USSR. Also, why were there homeless in the USSR? In the last few years. Stalin had housed everyone. Hello? Anything past 85 about the USSR, I will start my bad. Why bad? Yeah, communism with no kitchen, actually. True.
One Western diplomat is quoted as saying that Soviet officials stopped gathering statistics on poverty because they insisted it simply did not exist. When presented with the idea of
Oh my god, so true.
combating the issue with American-style soup kitchens, one Soviet official even said, "We are opposed to this system, where poor people get free dinner. Psychologically, it's a strange idea to us. We will not consider such a variant. They probably should."
Yeah, because they had kitchens for everyone. What? This is so weird. Because Gorbachev is white, true.
Should have considered such a variant, however, since the state of the Soviet economy made earning one's dinner incredibly difficult. In fact, in 1989, it took a Soviet worker 10 times longer to earn a pound of meat than it did the average American. But not everyone was having a hard time getting the foods they wanted.
Okay, this is so weird because, like, if you are talking about the last years of the USSR, then you're not talking about the USSR. You're just picking and choosing what things were bad in certain time periods, right? Oh my god. Let's build communal kitchens. Okay. Marry me, I'll move to Florida and we'll build them. This is getting progressively more nonsensical, I know. And I decided to watch this just not to watch the Gulag video, and I feel like the Gulag video would have been better. Let's go!
In 1984, the year, not the George Orwell novel, Konstantin Mtsimis reported that despite there being a nationwide food shortage, the ruling elite in Moscow ate like kings, using the so-called
Can we make it not in Florida though? It's not my fault. Except liberal dictator is going off. Oh my god. Detector going off. Yeah. Uh. Oh my god. Okay, I am against communes. Like, I don't know. I feel like communes are too individualistic, right? I don't know. Uh, like I get them, right? But at the same time, I don't know. But yeah, we can do it anywhere. True. They definitely drank like very drunk kings by 1984. Less of the food though. Yeah.
Kremliovska Stolovia, or Kremlin Canteen. The canteen was a network of special stores that sold food of particularly high quality to those with special passes. Sausages, fish delicacies, cheeses, bread, vodka, cakes, as well as fruits and vegetables produced and grown on state farms that supply the canteen system exclusively. There were also American cigarettes, Scotch whiskey, English gin, and pharmacies that sold prescriptions you couldn't find anywhere else in the country.
It's so weird how he just says it, right? And then nothing else. What's wrong with comments? Like, there's nothing wrong with comments, right? It just goes back to this one tweet. Also, follow me on Twitter! Thank you. Of like, I don't want a commune, I want communism, right? And like, I get it, right? And I'm not like anti-commune, but I feel like why are we building a commune, right? Are we building a commune to survive, to make survival easier, and to still like help the community or like build communism and stuff? Sure. But if we are just building a commune in order to just not have to deal with capitalism, that seems individualistic. And like, don't get me wrong, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, if someone tells me, okay, hey, we've built a commune, do you want to join? You just have to help us plant stuff and stuff. I would be like, sure. I don't want the stress of capitalism in my life, right? But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I want communism for the world, not just for me and my friends. So yeah. But yeah. Also, hi, Stornrisi. Welcome to friendship. Thank you for follow. Both are good reasons though. Yeah. Thank you. Also, thank you for follow, Pete GIF. Welcome. Or hard labor. Yeah, but in the US they make you houseless and kill you. So like, yeah.
Joseph Stalin really did not like the gay community. Soviet-era documents declassified in 1993 show
I'm not sure running away and becoming a subsistence farmer is the best answer to global capital. Yeah. So are you like Stalinist, or are you someone who thinks Lenin was cool? I'm a Marxist Leninist. I'm a scientific socialist, if you will. There's no such thing as Stalinism as an ideology. But yeah. I don't know. So pro-Stalin virgin on anti-Stalin chat. I'm not even banning you because you are anti-Stalin. I'm banning you because you think that being a virgin is bad, or being a virgin is opposite to being a Chad, when I have met a lot of Chads who are virgins. Okay, so fuck you for that. I agree that just living in a commune ignores the capitalism. Yeah, a commune would alleviate that. Yeah, and that's the thing. But yeah, it's literally a meme. Yeah, I don't care about you and your friend. If you will come in, you will border a border for CIA to infiltrate the U.S. military to fight against the shrink. Yeah. So chat to slurp up the propaganda speed speed by the U.S. Into your face. I know, right? Yeah. Border without A. Yeah, I know. I also learned that the state withering away would mean the state stops being a political entity, so instead becomes a tool for caring for basic necessities. I don't know how true that is, but it makes sense. I mean, that's the thing, like, the state would, like, slowly but surely, like the proletarian state is there to is there to like just for certain functions, right? And so into Stalin, yeah, no, this person is like for like picking and choosing what like thingies that he doesn't like and whatever. What else I say? Oh yeah, so like the state will have like particular tasks, right? And the proletarian state, like the bourgeois state, the task of the bourgeois state is to maintain the power of the bourgeoisie. So it is intrinsically fascist. It's inherently fascist. So it is going to inherently try to maintain itself because they want to maintain the power of the bourgeoisie, which is going to inherently want to maintain oppression, right? So yeah. Whereas the task of the proletarian state is to defend itself from imperialism, suppress the power of the bourgeoisie, and create communism. Redirect. Give money to everyone, distribute the means of production, and therefore build communism, right? And so in each state, like those tasks are going to be accomplished little by little, right? Slowly but surely. And because those are the tasks of the proletarian state, when those tasks are achieved fully, like once everything, like once all society is able to self-manage the food production, the education, everything, the state will no longer need to be, because the state is the entity that is organizing this in order to create a class consciousness, in order to ensure that people have the things that they need. So once people are conscious about all of these things, are aware, are like manageable, right? There won't be a need for a state. So the state therefore will wither away, right? Like when we end imperialism, like when we end capitalism in a global level, there will still be a state in each country, or maybe not, I don't know. Maybe there will be countries that are anarchists, so, you know, go you. But like the countries who will have state, the state will be there not to defend themselves from imperialism, but to continue organizing the economy, right? And the more time it passes, the more conscientious people are going to be. Like, the state will make all our facilities, and like with the pass of time, people are going to be conscientious of all these things, and they're like they won't need an entity to look over these things, that they will just know that they have to do or can do or whatever, right? So yeah, like, and I'm talking about like probably like centuries or at least a lot of decades, right? But yeah. But that's how what we have to be fighting for. So yeah. Um we don't know exactly what it means. Like, communism is somewhat vague because it's so far in the future. That's how I see it. By the time we may have advancements that make anything we can think us now seem silly, yeah, we must seize the means of production. Oh my god. Communism is on TikTok, true. East Germany had the first state-sponsored trans gay bar in history. Yes. There were no political changes, all between Stalin and Gorbachev, essentially the same person. I mean, not real. I mean, yes and no, right? Like, they're like, I mean, technically, yes. Like, Gorbachev did make changes, right? And that is why ultimately it was weakened. But because there were so many, like, cultural changes and societal changes, ultimately the perspective, because there were no further changes, I think, because there were no further political changes after Stalin, and the Communist Party basically being led by Khrushchev, Brezhnev, Cherenko, the other guy who I don't care, and honestly, Cherenko is more irrelevant, to be honest. And Gorbachev were just bureaucrat. They were just bureaucratizing the system more and more because they weren't focused on building communism. They were focused on staying in power, basically. People saw that, right? And because there wasn't any further development in the policies, right? The progress was basically stagnant socially, and that led to people basically distrusting the state. Like, it was such a slow burn, but it was all very much just social, cultural, optics. And it's weird because it's not like just optics, right? It's like materially changing because culture is changing. But it ultimately affected the political and made the state weak to the point where a right winger came and convinced people, and then a coup happened, right? And people were indifferent to it, and it wasn't until after the USSR and after people living in like Russia, in post USSR Russia, post USSR states, that they were like, oh shit, we got it good, right? Like, they didn't realize how good it was until they lost it, right? Like, because they had taken all the perks of the socialist policies that Stalin had implemented, well, and Lenin, that only the people who had the previous experience with the Tsar and now the USSR had that kind of conscience, right? But like the people who were like were born into the USSR, were living the USSR, which is most of the people, right? Like they just didn't know better. And all they understood was, oh yeah, the state is getting bureaucratic, right? Oh yeah, we have healthcare, we have education, we have work, jobs being like offered to us after having completed education. We have food, but it is just what it's supposed to have, what is supposed to happen, right? Because they are rights, and yeah, some other countries don't have them, but we have it, so it's good. Um, I don't know what else to say. I lost my train of thought. So like, yeah, they were very indifferent, and so when you had a like how can I explain this? Have you ever watched Stalin? Have you ever watched a speech of Lenin? Motherfucker is screaming. Like, you see the passion, right? You see that passion for change. And Stalin was there, right? Like, that generation wanted that. They were conscious of the need for that change, for that revolution. By the time Khrushchev got to power, like Khrushchev apparently didn't have that consciousness, right? Like this is why I think it is important for people to think about communism. Like, yeah, I'm sure, like, materially, logically, communism is not going to happen in my lifetime, right? But regardless of that, I, because I think about communism and how communism will happen, I know what I'm fighting for, right? And I will be able to give people that understanding. I will be able to make people understand that the lack of that idea is what is what thousands of people sacrifice themselves for. And by sacrifice, I don't mean they literally died, because not that many people actually died in socialist or communist revolutions. Well, in some parts, yes. But sacrificing, like, they gave their humanity, their time, their lives into building communism. Like, people who were organizing in Tsarist Russia, they were involved. They were sent to prisons. They were exiled, right? In China, they were persecuted. They were being followed by spies. They were being followed by police. Like in Vietnam, they were resisting bombings. They were resisting imperialism, and the same with Cuba. Like They were fighting for communism, and they knew that was a long journey, but they still did it, right? Like, the 5-year plans in the USSR were just to build a foundation. Mao managed to build a strong communist foundation in China. So because of that foundation that was built with the society, because there was a cultural revolution, Dong managed to introduce capitalism and push capitalism the farthest it could go in China, in socialist China. And when she gets to power, he's like, okay, we're still fighting for communism. We're still a socialist nation. Now we have the resources to work under this hegemonic structure of the world for China to build everything that we need. Dong introduced a lot of contradictions to China, and it's my job to absolve them, to diminish them, to resolve them, ultimately. And that is what she is doing. But there's still a clear motivation, a clear focus on this is what we're fighting for. This is where we're heading. This is where we're going. This is where we want to reach. Because if Deng didn't care about that, he wouldn't have given the 100-year anniversary of the Communist Party of China that he gave. He wouldn't be cracking down on private enterprises in China. He wouldn't be literally murdering billionaires. He wouldn't be sending them to jail. He wouldn't be taxing them like 90%. Like, there is a clear objective that they are working towards. And they acknowledge that the journey is not straight. It's with a lot of curves. But they are still going. And that is what matters. That they are still going because they know what they are fighting for. Like, Dong trusted China the same way China trusted Dong. The same way the Communist Party trusted him. He trusted them in that they would know what to do after him. Or at least that's what I am telling myself, because, like, motherfucker, like, you know? But, yeah. And now we are seeing other countries, like, doing their building their communism in their own ways. Vietnam tried to just build communism, and they couldn't. But that's the thing, like, skeptical about what? Like, even then, like, let's say that they are just capitalists which they are not objectively. Like, it's just objective that they are not cut. Actually, I guess billionaires giving hope, but that's the thing. Like, why else would he be doing that? If he truly wanted to maintain power, he would ally himself with the powerful people. And the powerful people are billionaires. Edgelord provocation. But yeah. Like, and even then, like, I just use China as an example because they have been fighting for the longest time at this point, because there is no USSR anymore. And if China falls, we have Vietnam, we have Cuba, we have Laos, we have Syria, we have a lot of Western Asian countries that are still fighting for liberation. We still have a lot to do in the West to fight imperialism. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I think this is a great article on why China is still going where they're going and why China is where it is. But yeah. Pinko's chat, oh okay. Like, I don't know. Also, I'm tired now. And I've been streaming for 2 hours and I didn't even know it is, but yeah. So I've been streaming for 2 hours, so if you're able to subscribe, give the sub, cheer with bits, donate, it would be much appreciated. I'm sorry if it's been a boring stream, but yeah. I just want people to be happy. And
Sorry, that was a real soapbox.
Oh,
Why
weird.
did I say sorry?
Йолеляри Оливейр just subscribed. Себе за the tank, себе за the tank, себе за the tank.
Thank you, Weird, for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Most didn't actually die and spent between 3 or 4 years before release. Yeah. On the gulags. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, honestly, the fact that gulags were better than the US prison system, that's enough for me to say they are good. Well, they're not good, right? But like, I mean, yeah, fuck that. Like, in comparison, yeah, in comparison. But yeah, I don't know.
Constantly insisted on the passage of an anti-homosexual law. He got his wish in 1933 when Article 121, which expressly prohibited male homosexuality, was added to the criminal code. Once in effect, such activity was punishable by up to 5 years of hard labor in prison. Stalin wanted the law due to...
Wait, up to 5 years? Okay, like, fuck that law, but also, it wasn't that bad. Like, okay, I know 5 years is a lot of time, right? But at the same time, like, I expected, like, they would be killed or something. 5 years in prison? Bro, there are countries where you are literally not allowed to enter if you are gay, and if you are queer of any kind, you are literally going to be murdered or get a finger cut off or something. Like, if you tell me death or 5 years, hell yeah, I'm fucking taking 5 years in prison. Today I can go to the township and see people smile, eat, drink, use tech, read, and play without care. I will feel overwhelming joy. Yes, same.
To a report from the Soviet secret police that warned of pederast activists holding orgies and engaging in espionage. Throughout the Soviet era, being openly gay meant facing prison or even hard labor. Not only that, gay people were widely considered pedophiles and fascists, and still are in parts of modern Russia.
There still are in all over the world.
Homophobia still lingers. Stalin's anti-gay legacy lingered into the mid-90s, after the fall of the Soviet Union.
I love that it is blamed on Stalin, like this wasn't literally the culture. That is just the culture of conservative countries. Also, are we going to talk about Christianity? No? Okay.
Gay people in prison for sodomy didn't even receive.
Throughout the Soviet area, what about the United States? Yeah, I know, right? Like, like literally, oh my god. Whatever. Like, I'd rather go to prison than be walking in the streets of New York and be randomly mugged and hit and kicked until I'm fucking bleeding because I dressed too gay. Should we talk about how in the South people could literally be killed and it was allowed and it's still allowed in some states? Like, hello?
Amnesty when the laws that put them there were repealed in 1993.
Were blacklisted from discotheques. Discotheques. Okay.
Facing accusations of religious obscurantism and anti-communism, heavy metal bands such as Black Sabbath, Nazareth, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest were on a secret blacklist kept by the Soviets and distributed to party officials in 1985. It wasn't just heavy metal that threatened the establishment, though. Plenty of pop and indie acts made the list, too. Bands like Talking Heads, The Village People, and 10cc were listed in the document.
Okay, so Western propaganda, got it.
Which was written up for the purpose of intensifying control over the activities of discotheques. The translated title of the blacklist, by the way, was The Approximate List of Foreign Musical Groups and Artists.
What did I just say? What did I just say? Foreign musical.
Whose repertoires contain ideologically harmful compositions. It's hard not to be amused by a totalitarian regime feeling threatened by the village people.
Are we just not going to talk about what YMCA is about? YMCA is literally US propaganda. Oh my god. Yeah, the surprise one from capitalist societies were included, though. I bet the Talking Heads wouldn't have caused trouble. Yeah. I need smoke. This is a lot to take in, lol. It'll be... Oh, take care, CJ. Also high, but yeah.
It's hard to imagine a capitalist government using its citizens to stop the production of tasteless bric-a-brac. But that's exactly what the Soviets did. The Soviets apparently hated kitsch, at least in the early days. In 1928, the state-run newspaper Komsomolska Pravda
I literally don't. What's kitsch?
Even launched a campaign called Down with Domestic Trash.
Down with
Why?
domestic trash.
According to the
Yeah.
state-run newspaper, all these dogs, mermaids, figurine devils, and elephants only help smuggle back mieszczaństwa. Mieszczaństwa, for the record, is a virtually untranslatable term meaning preoccupation with every day. I wonder how they'd
Based. Based. Fuck consumerism. Based. 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 Like, are we back? Okay. It's so weird because I had it in green. But yeah. Okay. Secret Police didn't like that last comment. I know, right? I was just basically saying, like, I guess it was bad for art for some artists, but from the consumerist standpoint, like, for fighting consumerism, like, based, right? Like, I don't know.
feel about Funko Pop figures.
Matzah in suitcase.
Jewish people living in the Soviet Union after World War II were forced to hide matzah in pillowcases inside suitcases and transport it when visiting relatives because baking it inside synagogues was explicitly forbidden. Matzah, for those who don't know, are the
Interesting.
flat crackers Jews eat to commemorate Passover. The Soviet secret police would patrol synagogues to enforce the rule, so Jewish families in the USSR had to get secretive themselves. It's odd to think of making crackers as an act of rebellion, but it was. A man named Slava Frumkin, who lived through it all, says it was a point of pride. It was like a sense of secrecy around
I don't know. Why though? Why?
this. And it was filling, to some degree, with some pride, your heart. You're doing something secretly that the government doesn't want.
I'm so confused. So, like,
Cool. Explicitly for it when visiting relatives because baking it inside synagogues was explicitly forbidden. Matzah, for the
so you could cook it in your house, and you just needed to. This is so weird. So you could still cook it in your house, and you just needed a bag in a suitcase. I will have to hear this from a more reliable source before I think that even this is even true. Yeah, because it's not even like it was forbidden. It was just you needed to do this long procedure, right? Like,
those who don't know, all synagogues to
it's just like a
enforce the rule.
weird.
So Jewish families in the USSR had to get secretive themselves. It's odd to think of making crackers as an act of rebellion, but it was. A man named Slava Frumkin around this. That the
Like, it's just weird. In communist Russia, it was illegal to jerk off in public. Like, it's like so weird.
Yes. The staples that held together Soviet passports were made from an inferior metal that could corrode and get rusty. This may seem like a bug, were made from
Staples in Soviet passport
inferior
corroded.
metal, and for secret agents trying to use fake passports, it was a huge deal. Unlike passports in the USSR, American passports used stainless steel staples. So anyone trying to pass their fake Soviet passport off as a real one gave themselves away if they were using the wrong staples. A Russian FSB, or Federal Security Service, official told the Chicago Tribune that hundreds of American agents got caught because they didn't know this. It's always the little things.
Okay, how is this life in the Soviet Union? Also, that's good, smart, clever, intelligent, like, makes sense. Also, how is this life in the Soviet Union? For Western spies? Yeah.
So what do you think? What Soviet fact surprised you?
Are there like sources? No. Yeah, no sources, but yeah. uh uh let's watch this video. Ushanka show has some videos on how life was, super educational. Okay, let's watch just this short video. See what looks fine.
Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. So while I'm working on my new video about Stalin's speech at the Lenin's funeral, I decided to show you this item. This is another artifact from the late 80s from the Soviet Union, and I just realized, my goodness, I should show you this because I'm still using it. I don't know if anybody can guess what it is. So this is fabric with the plastic pieces. And when I started thinking about it, I actually remembered the name. It's called Applicator Kuznetsova, Kuznetsov applicator, and it was all rage back in the late 80s during perestroika. So this Soviet doctor came up with this. This is a mild version of acupuncture. So you have these little plastic pieces with the pokey ends, and they are installed on the fabric. So this is the very first original design that he had. And the idea that it increases drastically the blood flow, I mean, some people were claiming they can heal you from like serious diseases like cancer and stuff. I don't think that's the case, but it definitely improves locally the blood flow. So if you, for example, lay on it on your back, your back will turn red. Of course, you'll have a bunch of those red dots from these pokies. It's actually quite sharp. And another option, you can stay on it barefoot. So this is like that yoga style. And it's really interesting feeling because, you know, you have all your weight applying on these pokey things. I usually do it for my back. If my neck hurts, I'll apply like locally on my shoulders.
Okay, I need this. I need this.
Where I feel I have a stiff muscle, and it actually does help. As I said, this is old piece of equipment. I missed a couple of pieces right now, but still, it's, you know, so what? Approaching almost 30 some years old. Works great, and they make them still. Apparently, you can find on AliExpress. It's called Kuznetsov applicator. I'll put link below this video. And they got all kinds of now designs and shapes and forms and belts and whatever. I wouldn't be super like excited about using them for some serious like diseases, like you have some issues with your that needs to maybe surgery, but for the local application, for like if your back hurts, it should work. You might do that yoga style standing on it because it kind of wakes up the whole body. Because a lot of the like acupuncture, you know, they apply needles in specific spots on your feet or your arms. So yeah, as I said, it's pretty sharp. I'm just pushing right now, see. As you see, so just a couple of seconds applying pressure, and that's what your back will look like. Yeah, back in the end of the 80s, we had real craziness when this alternative medical...
It's in the comments. The links are in the comments.
Copper armbands. For some reason, it's considered that removes negative like energy from your body or something like that. And then there are different alloys that are even better than copper. But this piece I like. As I said, I still use it. I challenge my kids to stay on it barefoot. So yeah, if you're interested, check it out. But yeah, that's another item I just realized that I still keep back from those good old Soviet days. Well, I hope you like this video. We'll talk to you soon.
Wait, did I like the video?
Hello,
like the video.
Welcome back to Ushanka.
Oh my god, I want Ushanka to fuck me. Yes.
Hey guys, while I'm working on my next big video, I want to show you this. This is a labor union ticket from Ukraine, from the Soviet time. It's my mom's. Taxes in Ukrainian here. And this is my mom back in 1968, so that's before she got married. And she also was Maler, so painter. Got Lenin's awards.
Okay, August.
And
Oh
the
my
most
God.
interesting part, of course, is this labor union dues stamps. So she paid dues, and every time she paid the due, there was a stamp. Maybe those stamps now worth $1,000. I really doubt, but
Our mommy.
so this is what it looks like. So 20 kopecks, 80 kopecks. And I said, mostly there's not much benefits of being a labor union besides discounted vacation.
No, they cut him. Okay.
Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ушанка Show. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. Говорит и показывает Мичиган. В эфире программа Ушанка Show. So we have another question.
Oh my
When
God,
you get a
so
chance,
true,
Sergey.
King.
For those who don't know me, my name is Sergey, and I was born in the USSR. I would love to see a video on what people ate at home and at work in the USSR. This is a subject that I can't find next to nothing on. Love your show. You really make it all come to life. Thank you very much. If I were still teaching Soviet politics, you would be required watching for my students. Well, it was very nice of you to say, Mr. or Comrade One Manuscript, and thank you so much. I really appreciate your comment. And now let's go to your question about food and what people ate at home at work in the USSR. Well, first of all, you need to be aware that I'll be talking about my upbringing and my family and my experience, so it could be different from other Soviet families or other families that live in different republics. So I won't be surprised that someone who lived in Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan or Latvia, they would have some kind of different diet and different traditions, different cooking. So this is my personal story. Well, might as well, let's learn a new Russian word, zavtrak. So zavtrak means breakfast. And breakfast was a very big thing, big deal. In my family, I believe most Soviet families, breakfast was kind of like a pretty big deal, big meal. And actually, there was quite a popular expression. I believe it originally came from General, or later he became a Generalissimus Suvorov. He was a famous military figure during, way before a revolution. And his basic diet was eat breakfast by yourself, share lunch with your friend, and give your dinner to your enemy. So this is kind of the whole idea of healthy diet. You have a good breakfast, average lunch, and you don't touch any dinner. Okay, so let's talk about zavtrak, breakfast. So a lot of it was so-called kashas. And I'm not sure how to translate it in English. It somewhat looked like grits, maybe. So kasha, and there was a different shapes, like for example, different kinds, not shapes. For example, buckwheat. Buckwheat was very popular in Soviet Union. So the way you make buckwheat kasha, you boil buckwheat, so make it soft. Then you pretty much have this boiled buckwheat, you mix it with hot milk, add some butter, and this is your buckwheat kasha. Similar way, or maybe even actually you boiled vermicelli or noodles in milk. I'm not sure. I never cooked. I never cooked. So you have vermicelli kasha. So you have a boiled like noodles or spaghettis. And once again, you have hot milk. You put a little butter, and you have vermicelli kasha. Then we ate a lot mannaya kasha, and I entered in the Google Translate, and Google claims that mannaya kasha, manka, that means semolina. I don't know if it makes sense, but that was a popular. So it's kind of thick, and once again, it's milk based. You add a little sugar too. So mannaya kasha, I ate a lot of that too. So my breakfast will be a bowl of one of those kashas, and then my mom will slice a piece of white bread and spread some butter on it, and then maybe I'll have a cup of tea with lemon.
It's basically like oatmeal. Well, not oatmeal, right? But like cereal. Yeah, semolina pudding is good. Yeah, it's like, oh my God.
We drank a lot of black tea. Later on, I started drinking some coffee, but we only had instant coffee. No one had coffee makers. We only used instant coffee. Another fantastic, one of my favorite morning meals, breakfast, is syrniki. So those are made out of cottage cheese, and you mix cottage cheese with flour. I mean, my wife knows the recipe. I probably should make a video with her. And then you fry them, and those are so delicious. So syrniki, and then you put some sour cream on the top, sprinkle some sugar, and have it with tea. Another delicious breakfast I had was ленивые вареники. And it's hard to translate. So we call vareniki what you guys call pierogis. So, but this is a small, once again, cottage cheese mixed with flour, but you boil it. You make like little pieces, you boil it, and then once again, sour cream on the top and sugar and have it with the tea. Very delicious. And another item that I liked a lot, and I still love it, is cottage cheese, which we call tvarog. But there's a caveat. I think I said it correctly, I hope. Caveat. We have it on the sweet side. So here in America, and I think it's super disgusting that people add salt and pepper on the cottage cheese. We actually load it up with sour cream and a bunch of sugar, mix it up, and that's how we have cottage cheese. And once again, you have a slice of white bread and a butter and a cup of tea.
Yes.
And yeah. So of course,
I'm
if you
moving
had
to
a
the
nice
USSR
breakfast,
right now.
you're not hungry at noon, so that's another difference. Like, we never had lunch at noon. It's way too early. We usually had lunch around 1 o'clock or maybe 2 p.m., 1400 military time. So that's it when it's time for обед. Обед is the Russian word for lunch. I learned that here in America, there's an expression called brown bags or do brown bagging, I think. So when you bring lunch with you to work in that single-use paper brown bag, of course,
Let's all
the Soviet
go.
Union, we don't have any single-use paper brown bags available. So usually people use the newspaper and they wrap their butterbrod, they call it like a sandwich. So you have 2 slices of dark bread, maybe some butter on it, and maybe some bologna. Then you have a cucumber. So quite basic. But a lot of people actually went to stolovaya or cafeteria because food was subsidized, so it was inexpensive. You can have a really decent meal under ruble. But, you know, I always think that if you make 130 rubles, so let's say roughly it's like you're making $1,300. So 1 ruble, it's like $10. So if you think spending every day $10 on lunch, it's not that cheap. Now, I'm planning for a while now, I'm sorry, to make a separate video about the whole topic of cafeterias and stolovayas. I have some good stories about that. So we're going to cover it separately. But as I said, when I went to school, I never brought food with me to school. We all went to stolovaya and had some food there. And my mother, for example, she quite often went to the stolovaya cafeteria at her place of work. My dad, I believe, he was bringing buterbrody with him from home. So once again, another Russian word we're going to learn today, это обед, lunch. And we also use expression до обеда, после обеда. So you can translate like before lunch or after lunch, but it actually means like AM will be до обеда and PM will be после обеда. So there's also kind of has this time related.
Interesting.
Okay, so обед at home, lunch at home. My family was big on soups and borsches. So for me, it was quite a shock when I first came to America.
Yes.
And before I was in Germany for a short period of time that people don't eat like liquid soup or borscht for lunch. Like, it was a big shock. Like, I couldn't believe, like, how can you eat at lunch without a nice hot bowl of soup? It's kind of interesting. I was fed really well.
Borscht is basically like a type of Ukrainian soup, but yeah.
Like, I always had food to eat, good food, but my mom later admitted that she never liked cooking, but she cooked for us because she had to. So she was a good cook, but she never, like, really enjoyed it. She never tried new recipes. So we had this basic set of, you know, soups and borsches, and she'll cook big pot. And then we eat it for about 3-4 days. Then she cooks another one of different variety, and then we eat it again for 3-4 days. So I'm the only one here in the family that I don't have issues with leftovers because I grew up eating leftovers. First, of course, come to my mind will be red beets borscht, or we just call it red borscht in Ukrainian, krasny borscht, or svikolnik. Delicious. So you got red beets, potatoes, gotta have potatoes. For me, like soup or borscht, you have to have potatoes. So one of my favorites. Then you serve it with a sour cream and some dill on the top. Very delicious. Another one, sorel borscht, shevlyowy borscht. That you guys don't have that plant in America, or you have some, but it's not really popular. It's like look like wheat. It's a kind of sour when you eat it, just like you pick the plant and eat it. It's delicious borscht. It has, of course, potatoes, sorrel, hard-boiled eggs, and you serve it also with a sour cream. And actually, my son Oliver, that's his favorite borscht, sorrel borscht, or shevlyowy borscht. Then we had cabbage soup, kapusniak. Once again, potatoes, of course, meat, and then you have cabbage, and it's a white cabbage. Not really like the one I liked a lot, but you eat what your mom cooks for you because otherwise you have nothing else. There'll be no snacks to substitute. Next one is quite unusual, interesting. I love it. It's so delicious. It's called solnik. But it's a weird one because you actually, I think you fry pickles and you use pickles in your soup. But I think it's delicious. So rasolnik is another one that I ate a lot. And I miss a lot because my wife doesn't know how to cook rasolnik. Another one I liked a lot was a pea soup, гороховый soup.
See, this is why we needed to abolish kitchens. Because he's saying, oh, my wife needs to cook it. No, maybe you should cook it. Just saying. See? Abolish kitchens.
You guys have something similar here, but I said we have always nice chunk of potatoes, and you got peas and fried carrots and other like fried onions with it. So pea soup, then you load it heavy with grinded pepper, and it's delicious. Another variety is fasolevый soup or bean soup. Once again, gotta have potatoes. That one was pretty good too, but of course, if it's not beans are not boiled enough, cooked enough, it can be quite a gazy project. But I like bean soup a lot too. And the last one on my list, but it was one of my favorite ones, was soup harcho. That
Bean soup is great. I literally just want a Russian person. Have people that like cooking, run kitchens communally, and then people just eating there seems like, I know, right? To abolish bedtime, we want to abolish kitchens. True.
That one, you had to buy a package in the store, and then you boil potatoes, then you had package, had some rice and some pieces of meat and some spices. I believe soup harcho is originally Georgian recipe, but they made those packages in Ukraine, and that was so good. Unfortunately, I can't find it anymore in Ukraine the way it was sold prior, but I really enjoyed the flavor. That was a really, really delicious soup harcho. Now, I want you to keep in mind that in the Soviet Union, you couldn't really purchase broths. So like here, you go to the grocery store and you have a chicken broth, beef broth, turkey broth, vegetable broth.
Weak. Pre-made broth, weak. In Russia, you had to make it yourself. Well, not in Russia, but in the Soviet Union.
Before you make soup, you need to boil meat, and we didn't raise cows for meat, so we didn't raise like beef cows. So the only
Based non-meat eaters.
way you can get beef would be old milk cows that got too old to produce milk. They got slaughtered, and then you buy that meat. So of course that meat,
Unbased cow killers.
it's old cow, so it's a tough meat. So usually you have to boil it for 3 hours to get that flavor, to get the broth, and then you have these pieces of boiled meat floating in the soup. And I hated boiled meat, so that was always, I gave it all to my dad. But this is the first stage before you make soup, you actually have to boil meat for a long time to get that broth going, and then you add potatoes and carrots and other ingredients. Okay, so we're done with obed, we're done with lunch. Well, usually I would have two courses, so I have a soup, and then I'll have maybe like a little plate of mashed potatoes and a sausage or something like that, but we could move it towards dinner. So now it's time to learn a new Russian word, ужин. So ужин means dinner. So ужин, we were big meat and potatoes people. So for meat, we will have cutlets. Bitki were quite popular, so that's slices of meat and you beat up.
That X thingy is like Z or Z with H. So Z.
With this hammer with the pointy ends, so you make it more, you can say, gentle, and then you toss it in the flour and you fry it in sunflower oil. And then of course you have store purchased sosiski, sausages, and there are different kinds. There'll be ones like look like hot dog sausages, or the thicker one, frikadelki, and those you can boil or you can slice and fry them. So they'll also be like part of the side dish for your meal. And then of course fried eggs, яичница as we call it, and that one, the best is when you have pieces of pork lard, salo. You slice that thick and you fry it along with яичница.
Interesting.
And it's super unhealthy, but so delicious. Then for the side, I would say garnir. I believe that was the Russian word. You'll have mashed potatoes, kartoshka puree, fried potatoes. Those I like the best.
Puree.
Fried on the sunflower oil. So good. Then once again, we come back to grechka, buckwheat. You boil it and then you fry it with little pieces of pork lard and really good, delicious side. I'm very surprised in America buckwheat is not popular. It's so good. And I believe it's very healthy if you don't add pork lard. Then of course you can have like macaroni or vermicelli, spaghetti. My family didn't use any red sauce like here, the pasta sauce. No, and I still don't like it much. It's weird because I love tomato juice, I like tomatoes, I hate any red sauces. So I always eat macaroni or spaghetti just plain, or I like garlic sauce, something garlicky. So there'll be another side dish, just macaroni or vermicelli, we call it. Angel's pasta, we just call it all vermicelli. Then of course famous Russian pelmeni. So we have a grinded meat, cooked meat, then wrapped in the dough and then being boiled. Very delicious, traditional Russian dish, pelmeni. And of course then we're talking vareniki, which in America they call them pierogis. And vareniki can be with mashed potatoes inside. They can be with mushrooms. They can be with different kind of berries like strawberries, blueberries, cherries.
Interesting.
Then they can be with cooked cabbage, all kinds of varieties. So vareniki was also another really popular, delicious dinner meal. And then of course you have salad, salate. So there'll be like a regular cabbage salad. And you need to keep in mind,
I want to move to the USSR.
and we didn't have any dressings. Like here, ranch dressing, Thousand Island dressing, Russian dressing. I was like,
I want to move to the USSR and not China because I know for a fact that in China things are too spicy.
what the heck is
No McDonald's. The US soon will come for liberation. I know, right?
the Russian dressing? We just use sunflower oil, or we use sour cream and mayonnaise. That's pretty much the three type of dressings we used. Then of course famous salad olivier, or they call them here in America Russian salad. That one was usually made because it's a pretty complicated recipe. It was made for specific events like birthday parties or New Year celebration. My mom would be making it just out of the blue. It only was for the special occasions. Then of course another salad, I call it salad, more like a dish, so-called селедка под шубой, herring under fur coat. Shuba is like the you know, fur coat. It's also like for the special occasion, usually for New Year, you gotta have селедка под шубой. That's the only time my wife makes me, or if I bake her for my birthday, or it's always tradition to celebrate New Year, have the селедка.
I need to kill her wife. I need to kill his wife and become his wife. Just kidding, just kidding. In Minecraft.
селедка под шубой, herring under the fur coat salad. And one of my favorites, a beet salad, salad свеклы. It's very basic. You just boiled red beets, then you grind them in tiny pieces, add some sunflower oil. Once again, it's a virgin sunflower oil, some green onions, salt, and it's good to go. I think some people add in some other like nuts, but that's a very, very delicious salad. I mean, I personally like it a lot. Okay, so this is what I think of on the topic of what Soviet people ate at home and at work back in the USSR. I apologize. I should probably warn you guys not to watch this video while you're hungry. But this kind of maybe give you basic ideas. Of course, some
And now you warn me.
people ate different things, but this is like popular everyday meals for most people. And as I said, I was fed well. I recall one of my friends, like his family, I think his father was alcoholic, I'm not sure.
Literally all Soviet people, the hottest people in the fucking world.
It was almost his mom, but he had to go fishing after school so he can fry some fish and have some food. I was lucky in that matter. I always had food on my table. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Надеюсь, вам понравилось это видео. Hope you learned something new. Надеюсь, вы узнали что-то новое. And we'll talk to you soon. До встречи в эфире. До свидания.
I
Goodbye.
think he said,
Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. When you get a chance, Sergey, for those who don't know me, and at work, you really make it all come for my student. Comment. And now let's go to a question about food and what people ate at home at work in the USSR. Well, first of all, you need to be aware that I'll be talking about my upbringing and my family and my experience, so it could be different and from other Soviet families or other families that live in different republics. So I won't be surprised that someone who lived in Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan or Latvia, they would have some kind of different diet and different traditions, different cooking.
I think you mentioned
so this is my personal story. Well, might as well. Let's learn a new Russian.
Most popular during the 80s. He just says of the USSR. Interesting. Okay, before we go, I need that so bad. I want to watch. You'll know about this. I wanted to watch a couple of videos on Argentina joining the Belt and Road Initiative. And I want to watch this probably on Discord because I don't think we can get it. We can watch it on stream, but yeah. And yeah, I'm not ready to have my news journey arc right now, so yeah.
Argentina began the week to news and debate about a major Chinese investment in the economy.
Oh my god.
On Sunday, Buenos Aires formally joined the Belt and Road Initiative during President Alberto Fernandez's state visit to China.
Okay.
In doing so, it has become Latin America's largest economy to formally join Beijing's flagship. Argentina began the week to news and debate about a major Chinese investment in the economy. On Sunday, Buenos Aires formally joined the Belt and Road Initiative during President Alberto Fernandez's state visit to China. In doing so, it has become Latin America's largest economy to formally join Beijing's flagship infrastructure and investment project. The bilateral meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Fernandez also resulted in Chinese investments worth more than $23 billion in energy, infrastructure, technology, as well as a currency swap. The finance is divided in two packages, one formalizing infrastructure projects in Argentina that had either begun or were under discussion, but also a second package of finance for new infrastructure projects.
The announcement of this Chinese investment package is significant for Argentina, a country that recently reached an agreement with the International Monetary Fund over its debt repayments.
Argentina has been in negotiations with the IMF for 2 years to refinance its $44
Holy
billion
shit.
debt. Details of that agreement have yet to be finalised, but the country is seeking alternative sources of investment and finance to aid its economic recovery. Nicolas Damin is the coordinator of the Argentina-China Studies Department at the University of Buenos Aires. He has worked closely with authorities in both countries and says there is a broad consensus in Argentina to deepen relations with China.
The agreement is positive for Argentina. Since 2017, under President Mauricio Macri, and then in 2019, the country has been involved in the Belt and Road Initiative talks. There is criticism from some sectors who want to see the details of the agreements and would like to see it debated in Congress. We'll see the fallout in the coming days, but overall, it is viewed positively.
This year, Argentina and China celebrate 50 years of diplomatic relations. Both presidents pledged political support during their bilateral meeting, but with the agreement signed during the Fernandez visit, the economic ties are tighter than ever.
Okay, I could never be a president because if I was a president, I would need to learn every language ever. Because if I had a translator here, I wouldn't know where to look. I would be like, I'm looking at you, but you are not talking to me because I cannot understand what you're saying. So I don't know how to react. So I will be looking at another place, but if I look in another place, I will be disrespectful. So I am just going to look at you while I lose my mind secretly in my mind. And I won't tell you that I'm dying of anxiety inside because I know that I cannot understand you and I am supposed to just listen to this person who is not you, but is allegedly you, but it's not you. So yeah.
Bilateral meeting.
Okay.
Experts see the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative as the engine for Argentina's economic development. Over the last 4 years, China has collaborated with Argentina on the...
Looking at shit disrespectful, I'm like, I will be like this, zigzagging between looking at him and looking at his clock. And looking like everywhere else, like every 2 seconds. I'm like, should I watch him? Oh no, I shouldn't. Should I? No, I shouldn't. Okay. Yeah. I bet it becomes second nature to watch the speaker while hearing the translator. Probably.
Renovation of tracks and trains for the Belgrano, San Martin, and General Urquiza cargo lines. Through their joint efforts, the entire northwest of the country is now connected to major export depots.
Interesting.
The program included the purchase of 107 locomotives manufactured in China and 3,500 wagons from the Chinese company CRRC.
Esta iniciativa china, que ha tenido tanto éxito en su relación terrestre con los países de Medio Oriente, Europa y África, creo que va a alcanzar mayor relevancia para nuestras relaciones bilaterales que todavía no han alcanzado su máximo nivel.
The renewal plan with China.
He basically said China good. He basically said China good. Me as a translator. Pay for resources, be infrastructure.
Chinese funding focuses on the rehabilitation of 1,500 kilometers of tracks. The project is financed by the China Machinery Engineering Corporation in the amount of almost $2.5 billion.
Todavía nosotros los argentinos debemos hacer muchos más esfuerzos para tener una relación comercial más intensa con China.
He basically said that Argentinians need to make much more effort to build a better and more a more intense economic relationship with China. But yeah, having an alternate to IMF is always good unless you're an imperialist. I mean, that's the thing, like IMF is imperialism and any alternative is good because it's not. Because if you wanted imperialism, you would just do it through the IMF.
But China hasn't just been helping build roads. In the province of Santa Cruz, Argentina.
No, yeah, I know there are subtitles, but sometimes people are just listening.
Companies Electroingeniería and Hidrocuyo are working together with Chinese firm China Guizhou Ba Group Corporation to construct two very important dams. Additionally, a Chinese company is also helping to bring electricity to a mountainous area in the northwest of the country. The Cauchari Solar Park will begin operations next year thanks to financing and technology from the Shanghai Electric Power Construction Company. The project will increase the generation capacity of Argentina's power lines, reduce energy costs, and cut down on carbon emissions. This amazing initiative will create around 1,500 jobs in the vulnerable region and will generate more than 750,000 megawatt hours in the first year of operations.
Hello? I want to move to China now. Fuck the USSR. Just kidding, just kidding. Okay, our last video about this.
The Chinese Belt and Road Initiative.
Oh, this was from 2 years ago when Argentina first started talks with China. Oh, fuck. 4 years ago. Holy shit. I'm literally... It's literally 2020. Imagine what a socialist US could do for the world if China could do this, all of this, and not even develop. The only thing that concerns me is that sometimes indigenous people get fucked over by these projects, but otherwise it's based. I mean, the thing is, like, indigenous people in South America function like completely different from how indigenous people are function in the imperial core, right? And most of them are integrated to society, and if not, they are in their own spaces, and even then, like, yeah, it is a different dynamic here. Like, yeah, like there is still racism, right? Like, if you see, like, indigenous people will be treated differently, like shit sometimes, right? But like, it's like a social thing, but in building wise, at least I know that I'm talking at least from for the most part Peru, Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, probably Venezuela. I know Uruguay and Paraguay are very careful of their indigenous cultures, right? So I'm not totally sure about Argentina, but given that most of South America, most of Latin America, because Mexico is huge in preserving the culture also, we don't fuck with that, right? But yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah. Like, they just want... I don't know. Yeah. Thank you, OG.
Experts see the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative
Is there something happening?
as the engine for Argentina's economic development. Over the last 4 years, China has collaborated with Argentina on the renovation of tracks.
So probably indigenous people face some issues. I mean, but the fact is that this is the problem with like the Zapatistas are not the only indigenous people in Mexico, and also how they became like how they made their own self-determination is like, you know, it's like I don't want to get into this tangent because I am not like the most uh knowledgeable, right? But like that is not why zapatistas exist. Like if I'm, yeah, like hi Sam, welcome. But like to say that zapatistas exist to preserve indigenous culture or like to defend, like that is not why they exist. Like that is some part of what they do by existing, right? But that is not why they exist. Or like, yeah, like I don't know why the US calls themselves the melting pot or something like that, right? Because like when Spain colonized Latin America, like they truly made us a melting pot. Like race, like it's so weird because like there is centralization and there is a degree of gentrification, right? But at the same time, like it's not. Mm, it is complicated. It is much more not nuanced. It is complicated, right? Like I don't know. It just feels weird when people of other countries, like it just feels weird when people outside Latin America or people who don't know, especially from the imperial core, but in outside Latin America in general, like have a take on race issues in Latin America, because like even people who study race in Latin America will have like will have to explain the history of Latin America to make people understand how race works in Latin America. Cause so like when people just say things about anywhere in Latin America, like it's not just you, Freya, or it's not just like the fact that it was the Zapatistas in Mexico. Like I've heard, like I will have the same like knee-jerk reaction when I've heard people talk about like uh uh what was the country south of Mexico? Yes, I am literally Gua Guatemala. Yeah, like I've heard like same like same, not same, but like similar comments about Guatemala, Mexico, uh El Salvador, Costa Rica, Cuba, uh Brazil. I have heard similar things. What? Oh my god. F again? Oh, okay. yeah, like the thing is like I have heard similar comments. Yeah, and it just like it's like, don't talk about race about in Latin America if you don't know how race works in Latin America, because it is a lot of history and it is complicated, and yeah, and it's like weird because like um race is not that talked about in Latin America, right? But it still exists and it is very prominent in society. And so when conversation about race in Latin America and racism in Latin America are had, I feel like it's better to be had properly rather than rather than having people talking about race in Latin America when the only concept of racism they have is of the US or something parallel to the US applied in Europe, right? Because even racism in Europe is complex, right? Um, but so like if the line of racism in the US is very hard line and defined, and in Europe is a little blurrier or a little blurrier and mixed with xenophobia, in Latin America is very fucking blurry and mixed with a lot of classism. And that history of classism has a whole historical baggage that comes with colonialism, but yeah, like it is a lot. And I just don't want to explain it because I don't want to go into, because I I just I don't know how to, I don't know how to give you the history with facts. If I like, I know the history, right? But I don't know how to explain it. So if I ever do a stream about like the history of Latin America and colonization from Spain, like I will make sure that I have a lot of resources, right? But like, yeah, like I don't know. But I don't think it's uncommon for infrastructure project under liberal government to trample on indigenous people's rights. But that's the thing, like you say indigenous people's rights, and it's like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, 'cause there are indigenous groups, but even then, indigeneity means different things. And it is very much just putting the sticker of indigeneity, and it kind of loses all the nuance and all the real impact of what you're trying to say, right? And so that is what triggers me. It's like, you don't, I know for a fact that you don't understand how indigeneity works in a Latin American context, right? And so that is triggering for me, because it's like not even people in Latin America, the common person in Latin America, fully understands, like can fully explain the complexity of what indigeneity means, because they will use it in a very like racist or derogatory or like essentializing way when our history demands a more complex analysis and like dissection of what indigeneity or indigenous cultures means. And I'm not saying that I know that your point, that the point that you're just trying to make is that these projects can affect people negatively, right? But at the same time, I'm telling you, these types of projects either don't affect people, affect them in different ways, or these people have been affected so much that these projects kind of give like they have probably either been brainwashed enough to the point that they think that these projects just help them, or they are typically applied in ways that they respect their cultures because and they just are, and if they are on board, they are on board because they know that that will bring economic growth to their zones. Because a thing that Latin America has, I don't want to say has always been conscious of, but has definitely has had a conscious of is of our like indigenous groups, because that is our identities, right? Like as much as people can act racistly towards indigenous people or can scoff at indigeneity, at the end of the day and at its core, it is still part of our identity, and that is something that it is just not said, but it is understood, and that is why it is triggering for me seeing people from the imperial core, but again in general from outside the Latin America, to have this out of touch understanding of how indigeneity is treated in Latin America, right? And it's like, oh no, like people can be like, I don't know how to explain it. Like people can be racist, but at the end of the day, they are still aware of how that indigenous identity affects them and how they are, that is still part of their identity, and and there is some intrinsic respect to that doesn't exist, that I can see that doesn't exist in at least the US, right? Like I can tell you from my experience, I have always hated learning about indigenous cultures in history class in school, because that would be always the thing that we were taught, right? And I just hated history, so I didn't like it. But there has always been that, like, that's still culture, right? That like that is still something that it is our identity. Like now that I'm a leftist and I'm more conscientious of that, I can appreciate that, and I look back like, oh, I should have paid more attention, right? But like, I have never seen anyone not have some consciousness of that history, right? And so, because there is still that social conscience, like having an outsider having that benevolent worrying, like worriness, you know, is like uncomfortable. It's like, oh no, you don't get it. No, like, yeah, there are issues, but it's it's more complicated, right? Like, yeah, and that's the thing, Freya. Like, I know that your point, like, or the point that you were trying to make was coming from good faith, was like you were just worried of indigenous people, right? And all of that. But at the same time, it's like I would rather people from the imperial core or people from outside Latin America not talk about Latin American shit if they don't know. Like, I am sorry I'm making a huge deal with about this, but also I didn't realize how triggering it was. Like, I have always been triggered by that, but I don't know, like, it probably is because it pairs with like kind of being like skeptical of China, right? But at the same time, it's like, oh no, like, you are not from Latin America. You are no one to say anything, right? And again, I know you're a good person, Freya, and you're good faith and all of that, but at the same time, I, as a Latin American, like, that's the thing, like, I am triggered. And we're not even talking about Peru, right? Like, hey, no, that's Argentina's shit to figure out. Like, you don't get to be concerned for indigenous people when you don't even know where these things are being built. Like, you don't get to fake race concerns of indigenous people when you don't know anything about what is happening in Argentina. Okay? And especially when you have countries that have been exploited by imperialism and they are looking for a way out of imperialist exploitation. Like, I am sorry. I didn't know I was going to get so triggered. I am sorry, but at the same time, it's like, oh. Yeah. Like, last year or the year before, I don't even remember, when people were like raising awareness of the fires of the that were happening in the Amazon. It was triggering for me, and that is why I completely avoided the topic. Like, I would literally scroll past things on social media talking about that. I ignored Billie Eilish for a whole month and a half. Like, kiss. I was like, bruh, if you care about Brazil, if you care about the world, if you care about like the Amazon forest, talk about the fascist regime of Brazil, right? Like, don't fucking treat Brazil or Latin America like we are fucking babies that we don't know what we're doing. Like, Brazil was going through that because it is systematic shit. Not to even mention that that was propped up by media to avoid talking about the fascist regime that is happening right now still in Brazil. And not to even mention that the fires in Australia are bigger, worse, and deadlier. And yet no one talks about the fires in Australia that happen every motherfucking year. Not to even mention that motherfuckers think that the Amazon is just this. Or like ends at this border. Bruh, the Amazon is half the continent. The Amazon is also in Colombia, it's in Ecuador, it's in Peru, it's in Venezuela, it's in Brazil, it's in Bolivia. It reaches some parts of Argentina and Paraguay. Like, that is how huge the Amazon forest is. Well, actually, I don't know if legally the Amazon reaches Argentina. I might just be exaggerating. So, and the same with Paraguay. So heads up, but like, and yeah, I know that the areas that were being burnt were in Brazil, but at the same time, it is just triggering how people just don't understand geography. Just talk and just like people who know the Amazon forest see through that bullshit and are like, you motherfucker don't even know where the Amazon forest is. You don't even know why this is happening. Shut the fuck up. And this is why all of Western Europe, all of Western Asia fucking hates the US. Oh my god. Me hating the US arc finally happening. Like, these motherfuckers will just talk and have no idea. Like, half of these motherfuckers leftists talking about Israel. I tell them, tell me where's Israel. They don't fucking know. They talk about Afghanistan. I tell them where's Afghanistan. They don't fucking know. They say, oh, there's a genocide going in Xinjiang. Where's Xinjiang? They don't fucking know. There's a genocide going in Yemen. Where's Yemen? They don't fucking know. I say Libya, motherfuckers think we're talking about Asia. Or even worse, I say Iran and motherfuckers will think that I'm talking about Africa. Like, stars at Yemen on the map. Like, that is insulting. Like, it is insulting how white people treat the global south, treat the imperial periphery, treat every other country like their projects of their charity projects. Like, and it's like, we are conscious people. And if there are people who don't know what's happening, and even if that's the majority of the population, that is because imperialism designed it that way. But yeah. I should have made that comment without knowing about more Argentina. But the thing is, like, the thing in Bolivia is that happened because the like, literally US intervention, right? And, like, they just want to extract things. And that is why, like, for example, our current president, Castillo, wanted to, like, get all the fucking, US, companies from mines, like extracting like mineral metal extracting companies from Peru. But yeah, like, and that is what is bothering, right? Like, you made that assumption because you are projecting the US into China, right? And it's like, and that is what it was triggering, right? It was triggering because you were not just talking about Latin America, you were talking about Latin America and, like, and China, right? Like, you were saying, oh, the US is doing this thing in, like, what happened in Bolivia about the dams, right? Was because of the US. We're talking about China investing in Argentina. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, it, like, okay, I will just stop because it's just many things and my brain is just like at 1,000 right now. So yeah, I'm just like saying things, but yeah, like, also hybrid, welcome. To some extent, that's a lot I didn't know, and I can tell there is a lot that I still know. And that's the thing, like, it is frustrating because I know that I don't know enough to speak, but I know enough that I know that other people should definitely not speak, right? And that is what it's like aggravating and frustrating to me, because it's like, oh, like, there are fucking indigenous activists, okay, here, and they know the nuances. And when they speak about indigenous activism, it's a very specific, like, indigeneity in that context is very specific because you're talking to the people here that have that specific understanding of indigeneity, right? But when you take indigeneity like from a international level, that meaning of indigeneity is way more complex and nuanced, and that's when you have to get all the history, right? But yeah, like, okay, I'm too triggered. Okay, I will just finish this video and we're going to rate because I am dying.
Experts see the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative as the engine for Argentina's economic development. Over the last 4 years, China has collaborated with Argentina on the renovation of tracks and
Yes. Like, at least especially when we're talking about Latin America and China, but yeah. No, it's okay, Freya. Don't worry. Like, yeah, I'm just triggered.
Trains for the Belgrano, San Martin, and General Urquiza cargo lines. Through their joint efforts, the entire northwest of the country is now connected to major export depots. The program included the purchase of 107 locomotives manufactured in China and 3,500 wagons from the Chinese company CRRC.
Esta iniciativa china, que ha tenido tanto éxito en su relación terrestre con los países de Medio Oriente, Europa y África, creo que va a alcanzar mayor relevancia para nuestras relaciones bilaterales, que todavía no han alcanzado su máximo nivel.
The renewal plan with Chinese funding focuses on the rehabilitation of 1,500 kilometers of Ingeniería and Hidrocuyo are working together with Chinese firm China Guizhou Ba Group Corporation to construct two very important dams. Additionally, a Chinese company is also helping to bring electricity to a mountainous area in the northwest of the country. The Kauchari Solar Park.
Oh no, yeah, like these places experience drought. Like, yeah, if you didn't know, the hottest desert uh where was that? The Atacama Desert. Yeah, like this part is one of the hottest and driest areas in the world. Yeah, like if they are building a dam there, it's because they need it. But yeah. No, it's okay, Freya. Again, don't worry, don't worry. But yeah. Okay. We're going to be ready to famous critique. I am tired. Rain. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Weird, for the resub. I appreciate it. If you're subscribed, copy and paste the first message. If you are not subscribed, you can copy and paste the second message. I will try to stream tomorrow morning. But yeah, I love you all. Take care. Bye. Good night.